The Golden State Warriors are just 1 week away from one of the most important nights of their offseason, the 2026 NBA Draft, holding the number 11 pick, their first lottery selection since 2021. The Warriors face a serious decision that could reshape the direction of the franchise for years to come. And according to the latest reports circulating around the league, the team is showing a clear preference for a specific type of player, while quietly moving away from another. Hey, what's up, everyone? Before we jump into everything today, that like button right there is what decides if this video hits hundreds or thousands of people. 1 second is all it takes, but the impact on this channel is massive. Go ahead and hit that like button right now. Seriously, it's the simplest thing you can do, and honestly, the best way to back this content up, because every single like pushes us further. So hit it now. The Warriors enter draft night with multiple roster needs. Most analysts agree that their two biggest gaps are a wing player with positional size and a playmaking guard who can share the ball handling load with Stephen Curry. Those two positions represent the most obvious targets for Golden State at pick 11. But the latest draft intelligence is telling a different story. According to Clutch Point's draft reporter Brett Siegel, the Warriors have expressed interest in a group of players that skews heavily toward bigs and wings. The prospects linked to Golden State include wings Yaxel Lendeborg, Braden Burries, Cameron Carr, and Nate Ament, along with frontcourt players Ade Mara, Hannes Steinbach, and Morris Johnson Jr. The team also hosted power forward Crickson Knack Jr. for a private workout this week. What stands out about that list is what is not on it. According to Siegel's big board, the Warriors are not currently connected to LeBaron Philin Jr., widely regarded as the top guard prospect available outside of projected top 10 talents like Keaton Wagler, Darius Acuff Jr., Mikal Brown Jr., and Kingston Flemings. In fact, no point guard appears on any Warriors draft rumor linked to the number 11 pick. So what does this signal about Golden State's offseason strategy? The answer likely lies in free agency. The Warriors are widely believed to be using their mid-level exception to target a veteran scoring guard this summer. Recent reports have connected them to Portland Trail Blazers guard Anthony Simons and Cleveland Cavaliers guard Colin Sexton. If the team is confident they can address the backup guard position through free agency, it makes sense they would redirect their draft pick toward other needs, particularly at the center position. The center situation in Golden State is genuinely uncertain. Kristaps Porzingis is an unrestricted free agent, though the Warriors hold his bird rights and remain the heavy favorites to bring him back. Al Horford holds a $6 million player option and, at 40 years old, is expected to play just one more season at most. With Porzingis' history of serious injuries and Horford's age becoming a real factor, the front office appears to be treating center depth as a legitimate long-term concern, even if the short-term outlook looks manageable. Selecting a center in the draft does not necessarily mean the Warriors expect to lose Porzingis. Rather, it reflects a broader organizational philosophy. Build depth at fragile positions before you desperately need it. If Porzingis misses significant time again, as he has in multiple recent seasons, having a developing big man on a roster becomes far more valuable. On the wing side, the four prospects most linked to Golden State each bring real appeal but also real limitations. Yaxel Lendeborg is considered the most complete player in this group, though at 23 years old, scouts have raised legitimate questions about his upside. Braden Burries is a confident and skilled guard forward, but his frame, standing just 6 feet 3.75 inches without exceptional length or elite athleticism, raises doubts about whether he can become a high-end defender at the NBA level. Cameron Carr has the physical tools, length, and athleticism to impact games defensively, but his college production on that end was underwhelming for a player with his profile. Nate Ament is a skilled shooter and smart player, but lacks the explosiveness to consistently attack the rim, which causes him to settle for tough mid-range shots. Meanwhile, Mara, Steinbach, and Johnson represent an intriguing group of frontcourt prospects who may actually rank higher on Golden State's internal board than some of the wings connected to them publicly. The 7'3" Mara in particular has generated significant buzz league-wide for his combination of size, touch, and international pedigree. The core dilemma facing the Warriors front office on June 23rd is a classic best player available debate. Do they take the wing who addresses their most pressing roster need but ranks slightly lower on their board? Or do they take the best player available regardless of position, which in this case might be a center? There's no clean answer. Both paths carry risk, and both carry potential. What is clear is that Golden State is not planning to use this pick on a point guard. That role will be filled elsewhere, whether through the mid-level exception, a trade, or the continued development of the players already on the roster. The draft is for size, length, and versatility. The clock is ticking, and the Warriors have some serious decisions to make before June 23rd arrives. Jalen Brunson just led the New York Knicks to an NBA championship. He is now widely considered one of the best players in the entire league. A smaller guard who was underestimated for years before shocking the basketball world with back-to-back deep playoff runs, and, ultimately, a title. So when someone suggests that the Golden State Warriors may have a younger version of Brunson sitting right on their own roster, the natural reaction from fans is skepticism. But the comparison is more legitimate than most people want to admit, and it is a conversation worth having seriously. The player in question is Brandon Podziemski, the Warriors' second-year guard who spent much of last season fighting for respect, both on the court and in the public conversation surrounding the team. A video recently circulated on social media showing Podziemski during his rookie year openly naming Brunson as one of the players he studies and looks up to most. Analyst Sam Esfandiari shared the clip with the caption, "We got Brunson at home," a cheeky but thought-provoking take that quickly gained traction among Warriors fans and NBA observers alike. The post sparked a debate that is worth unpacking in detail. Let's be clear from the start. The comparison is not meant to suggest that Podziemski will ever reach Brunson's elite level play or lead a franchise to an NBA title. That would be setting an almost impossible standard for any young player, let alone one who is still establishing himself as a legitimate starter. What the comparison does suggest is that Podziemski's profile, his skill set, his physical attributes, his competitive mindset, and his developmental arc rhymes in meaningful ways with what Brunson looked like in his early professional seasons with the Dallas Mavericks before he took his game to another level entirely and became the face of a championship franchise. Both guard on the shorter side by NBA standards, in a league where most starting guards stand between 6'3" and 6'6". Both shoot left-handed, which gives them an unorthodox quality that defenders can struggle to read and guard consistently. Both were somewhat overlooked coming out of college, drafted without the immediate hype that follows top 10 picks. And both showed, even in their earliest NBA seasons, the kind of competitive instincts and basketball intelligence that experienced scouts and coaches recognize as predictors of long-term success at the professional level. What makes Podziemski's case particularly compelling is the way last season ended for him. The Warriors were ravaged by injuries throughout the year, with Stephen Curry missing extended time and several other key contributors sidelined at various points. With Curry absent, Podziemski stepped into a much larger role and began showing the kind of consistent performance that had previously only appeared in flashes. He became the team's most reliable scoring option during those difficult stretches, taking difficult shots and hitting them with real confidence. He logged minutes that he never would have received in a healthier environment, and he made the most of the opportunity. Was he perfect? Absolutely not. He still made the kinds of mistakes you expect from a young player find his footing. Poor decisions in fourth quarters, defensive lapses, stretches of inconsistency that frustrated fans watching the Warriors fall in close games. But the growth was real and visible. His numbers improved steadily from his first season to his second, and he hit individual milestones, including his first 30-point game and completing a full 82-game regular season, that signal a player methodically building the foundation of a real NBA career. There's also a maturity element to Podziemski's development that goes beyond what you see in box scores. He is still a polarizing figure among Warriors fans, many of whom have championship expectations and limited patience for players who have not yet proven themselves at the highest level. His confidence can occasionally read as cockiness to those who are not yet fully sold on him. But observers who follow the team closely through the full season notice something important. A player who is learning how to handle the pressure of playing in Golden State, learning how to manage the media, and learning what it means to compete through adversity when everything around you is falling apart. Podziemski is going to be an important piece of next season's Warriors team regardless of what fans think about the Brunson comparison. His development is trending upward. The team needs him to keep growing, and the roster around him is likely to be significantly retooled this summer. If he can continue improving at the rate he showed during last season's final stretch, the conversation around him will shift dramatically. Brunson is now a champion and one of the most respected players in the game. Podziemski is nowhere near that status yet. But the blueprint exists, the attributes are similar, and the competitive drive appears to be there. That combination is worth more than most Warriors fans currently give it credit for. While the Warriors figure out their draft strategy and think through their backcourt options in free agency, a surprising development out of Utah is quietly generating buzz around the league, and it could have a direct impact on Golden State's most pressing long-term roster need. The question of who starts at center for the Warriors next season and beyond remains genuinely unsettled. A new report suggests that an unexpected situation with the Utah Jazz might give the Warriors a chance to solve that problem in a major way. According to Sam Amick of The Athletic, Jazz center Walker Kessler, who is set to become a restricted free agent this summer, is currently at odds with the Utah front office. The tension stems from the team's decision not to offer Kessler a contract extension last offseason, combined with the way his free agency situation has since developed. Kessler is reportedly unhappy about how the organization has handled the situation, and that frustration has apparently grown enough to become public knowledge around the league. That friction matters for the Warriors because Golden State's center rotation is one of the most uncertain in the NBA heading into this offseason. Kristaps Porzingis, the team's presumed starting center, is an unrestricted free agent. While the Warriors hold his bird rights and are considered the frontrunners to re-sign him, nothing is finalized. Al Horford has a player option worth $6 million and, at 40 years old, is not a long-term answer to the position. Quinton Post is a restricted free agent. Charles Bassey is also an unrestricted free agent. And both Draymond Green and Horford hold player options that have not yet been decided. In short, the Warriors do not currently have a single center locked into their roster for next season. Walker Kessler, when healthy, is one of the most impactful young big men in the Western Conference. The 24-year-old, 7'2" center is already one of the best shot blockers and rebounders in the league. During the 2024-25 season, he averaged 11.1 points, 12.2 rebounds, and 2.4 block shots per game, the kind of numbers that make any front office take notice. He is exactly the type of anchor that the Warriors have been missing at times during recent seasons when their interior defense became a genuine liability in the postseason. What makes the situation even more intriguing is what Kessler showed in the small sample games he played this past season. After suffering a torn labrum that required surgery and cost him most of the year, Kessler appeared in just 5 games. But in those 5 games, he showed meaningful development in areas that matter enormously for a Warrior-style offense. His assist numbers climbed from 1.7 per game to 3.0 per game, a significant jump that suggests real growth as a passer and playmaker out of the high post. He also went 6 for 8 from three-point range, matching a career high in makes despite the limited appearances. A center who can pass, block shots, rebound, and hit threes from perimeter would be a near-perfect fit for Steve Kerr's system in Golden State. However, the obstacles to actually acquiring Kessler are significant. Because he is a restricted free agent, the Jazz retain the right to match any offer sheet he signs with another team. Utah still holds a leverage in this situation. The same leverage the Warriors used themselves just 12 months ago when they matched offers on Jonathan Kuminga. For Golden State to land Kessler, they would almost certainly need to structure a sign-and-trade agreement, which would require the Jazz to agree to move him and the Warriors to give up real assets in return. Danny Ainge and the Jazz front office are not known for giving up promising young players cheaply. The financial picture is equally complicated. The Warriors do not have the cap space to absorb Kessler's expected salary on a straightforward free agent deal. Any realistic path to acquiring him runs through a trade, which means Golden State would need to put together an attractive package of players or picks, assets that may also be needed elsewhere in their off-season plans. So, while the Kessler situation is genuinely worth monitoring, the realistic probability of a deal remains low. The Jazz are unlikely to simply let a player of his caliber walk for nothing or be traded at a discount just because he is frustrated with management. What is more likely is that Utah and Kessler work through the tension, and he either re-signs with the Jazz or moves to a team that can offer him a path forward through a sign-and-trade at fair value. Still, the Warriors would be foolish not to explore the possibility. Kessler at 24 years old represents exactly the kind of long-term center solution that Golden State needs to build around Stephen Curry, and whatever roster takes shape over the next 2 to 3 years. The window is narrow, but it exists, and in the NBA, those windows do not stay open forever.